Welcome back to Turkish Spotlight Secrets. It's always a pleasure to see you here. If you love deep dives into celebrity lives, the real stories behind the smiles, and the kind of details that make the entertainment world buzz, don't forget to subscribe and ring that bell so you never miss a new upload. Today's episode is the kind people talk about for months. One single photograph didn't just spark conversation. It shifted the ground beneath everything fans thought they knew about Yaman and Demet Özdemir. For weeks, whispers swelled into waves. Little clues slipped into interviews, comments tucked between the lines, a certain tone in their voices when questions turned personal. There were memories, near confessions, and a careful dance around the subject everyone secretly hoped would surface. But when it finally did, no one was ready. A photo of Can and Demet kissing landed online. And the internet didn't just react, it erupted. This wasn't a movie scene. This wasn't a campaign. Insiders say it was real, private, unplanned in the way only truth can be unplanned. We're told the moment unfolded during a closed-door industry event, far from the crush of cameras and the flash of relentless lights. They slipped away from the main hall and found a quiet corner where crowd noise softened into a hum. One moment they were just two professionals making polite rounds, the next they were two people who have lived with the weight of unresolved feelings for years. In that small pocket of calm, they made a decision that shook millions. Witnesses who caught a glimpse before the kiss describe an electricity that needed no commentary. Eye contact that was steady and searching. Voices lowered to a hush, sentences drifting toward the kind of truth that doesn't require many words. The space between them narrowed. The rest of the room seemed to dissolve, leaving them in a bubble where time slowed and honesty finally outran caution. And then it happened. The kiss wasn't stiff, performative, or calculated. It looked lived in, like history stepping forward to claim its place. It carried warmth, gravity, and a sense of release, not as if they were testing something new, but as if they were honoring something that had never really left. It didn't feel like a stunt, and it didn't read like regret. It read like two people surrendering to a truth they had been holding back for far too long. For fans who have followed them since Daydreamer, the photo felt like a long-awaited confirmation. Their on-screen chemistry back then had a pulse that viewers swore couldn't be confined to a set. In old interviews, Can once hinted he could never truly give up on the woman who mattered most, while Demet said destiny would have to do the work if love was meant to circle back. At the time, many brushed those comments off as gracious professionalism, the kind of elegant answers you give when people ask too much. Now, those same lines sound like breadcrumbs gently pointing toward what was happening all along. The second the picture hit the internet, it took on a life of its own. It streaked across timelines at dizzying speed. Millions reposted, debated, zoomed in, and examined every frame. Fans studied the angle of their shoulders, the softness in their expressions, the way their hands settled, reading body language like a love letter written between breaths. Within minutes, it was trending in multiple countries. From Europe to Latin America, from the Middle East to the United States, and especially in Italy where Can's star burns fiercely, people were calling it the comeback of the year. But according to sources close to them, this moment was not an impulse. It was an arrival. Insiders claim Can and Demet have been meeting quietly for months, far from the frenzy that once surrounded them, slow conversations, late-night phone calls, careful steps toward trust. They weren't rushing, they were mending. They revisited old wounds without tearing new ones. They rebuilt a language they once spoke fluently, only this time with patience and maturity. People who know them insist the kiss wasn't a mistake. It was a choice, a boundary crossed with intention. The message was simple, their story never truly ended, it paused. What was dormant has awakened. The fear that once kept them guarded has softened into something steadier. That shift, more than anything, is what fans recognized instantly. And just like that, the public narrative flipped. For so long the conversation was fueled by uncertainty and cryptic posts, a shared lyric here, an overlapping location there, a look that said too little and too much at once. Those days feel over. The message now is clear. There is something real between Can and Demet again, and it's no longer interested in hiding. The question everyone is asking is, what happens next? Will they appear together at a major event, stepping out hand in hand as if to say, yes, you saw what you saw? Are we waiting for a formal confirmation from their teams, or have they decided the picture said enough? Is this the first of many moments we will witness, or was it a beautiful one-time glimpse of a private reality that will remain private? Entertainment insiders are already predicting the next chapter. Some say an engagement isn't out of the picture, particularly after the way both have been speaking about commitment lately, not flashy declarations, but thoughtful reflections on home, stability, and choosing your person. It's the tone people use when they've stopped performing for the world and started listening to their own hearts. International magazines splashed their photo across covers with headlines like the reunion everyone has been waiting for. Editors know a cultural heartbeat when they feel one. If you're wondering how they kept this quiet for so long, the answer seems to be discipline and trust. Decoy cars and staggered arrivals. Private dining rooms where phones were checked at the door. A close circle that stayed loyal and tight-lipped. They learned from the past, the noise, the pressure, and designed a path back to each other that let them breathe. Even their social media breadcrumbs felt smarter this time. Sunsets that looked suspiciously alike without tagging the same horizon, playlists that seemed to echo each other across accounts, small choices that resonated just enough to keep hope alive without inviting chaos. What about their dynamic? Those close to them say it's softer now, less about fireworks and more about warmth. Can, known for intensity and ambition, has found a calmer rhythm that makes space for tenderness. Demet, who guards her heart with grace and intelligence, has opened it where trust is earned. They've learned to say the hard things gently and the honest things clearly. Whether it's therapy, long conversations, family dinners, or simply time doing what time does best, the temperature between them has shifted from a spark that burned too fast to a glow that lasts. Let's talk about that night. The venue was elegant but not showy, with low light and a terrace that gazed over the city. Music drifted, champagne glasses chimed, and conversations layered over each other like threads. At some point, a window of quiet opened, a pathway through the chatter, and they took it. Away from the main room, near a column washed in golden light, they stood close enough to feel each other's presence without touching. Then touch found its way. Witnesses remember the small details, Demet's hand smoothing the line of Can's collar, his palm resting protectively at her back. The breath they both took, the kind you take just before you tell the truth. The kiss didn't explode, it unfolded. The world hushed itself. It wasn't reckless, it was inevitable. And somewhere, from a respectful distance that still managed to catch everything, a shutter clicked. One frame, one moment, a story reignited. Online, fandoms rose like a tide. Old edits resurfaced, new ones bloomed. People paired the photo with their favorite scenes from Daydreamer, dubbing the real-life kiss the sequel they always wanted. Comments poured in with nostalgia and joy, and even the skeptics found themselves smiling. It wasn't just gossip. It was a sense of closure and beginning all at once, the rare feeling that a chapter you loved might not be over after all. Reactions inside their circle were just as telling. Friends who've known them for years kept things discreet, but every so often, someone would post a quiet heart or a sparkling emoji-free caption about timing and grace. A producer who worked with them once shared a cryptic line about stories that choose their own endings. Not confirmations, not denials, but acknowledgements that something meaningful had taken root again. Professionally, the possibilities are dizzying. A film together would detonate the box office. A series would send streaming platforms into a bidding war. Even a joint charity project would melt the internet. But those who understand their priorities believe they'll tread carefully. The romance is not a marketing plan, it's personal. If they return to the screen as a pair, it will likely be when they feel secure enough to let the work be work and the love be love, without one cannibalizing the other. There's also the practical side, schedules, geography, and the realities of stardom. Can's star power in Italy creates a cross-border life, Demet's artistic path demands flexibility and focus. Yet, if this past year has taught them anything, it's that logistics bend when the heart is certain. Private flights can be booked. Weeks can be restructured. The center can hold when both people choose it. For now, the silence from their teams might be the loudest statement. Sometimes confirmation is unnecessary when a moment is so clear. Sometimes leaving a picture to speak allows tenderness to breathe without being consumed by the spin cycle. And maybe that's the lesson in all of this: not every truth needs a press release. Some truths simply arrive, and the world understands. So what do you think? Did you see this coming, or did it catch you beautifully off guard? Do you believe this is the dawn of a new era for Yaman and Demet Özdemir, or a luminous chapter that will remain theirs more than ours? Tell us in the comments, we read every word. If this deep dive moved you, tap like and subscribe to Turkish Spotlight Secrets for more intimate, carefully sourced updates. Your support helps us bring you the best stories from the world of entertainment. Stay close, because this love story has only just stepped back into the light. Whatever comes next, a public appearance, an official statement, or another unexpected, unguarded moment, we'll be here to trace its heartbeat. And until then, remember that sometimes a single photograph doesn't just capture a second in time, it frees years of feeling that were waiting to be seen.